Jai Hind to all. This is Santosh Mishra from Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. I am working here in Information Technology Department. In today's lecture, we will study a topic of a subject that is named Web Technology. Its subject code is KIT 501. It is running in CSIT department and IT department. Fifth sem students are currently studying this subject. So, today I will try to elaborate some complex topics like what the constructors are, what are the role of constructor in Java programming. Basically, we will web technology contains the Java programming also in its first unit. So, we will basically focus on Java part in today lecture, and in that we will focus on the what the constructor is, what are the roles of constructor, how we can use it in programming, and then we will try to cover what are different keywords, like what is the role of static keyword, what is the role of this keyword, what is the use of final, abstract, and we will try to understand these topics by the mean of some programming experience. So, let us start. Firstly, as we all know, I hope you have already studied some concept of Java, then you all will know that Java is a object oriented language. Java is a object oriented programming language that provide the concept of all the paradigms like abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. In that is the core basics of any object oriented programming language. As we all know that abstract, what the abstraction is, first understand what the abstraction is. Let's understand what is abstraction. Abstraction, as the name suggests, abstraction means showing the essential thing and hiding its background detail, and class in Java is a way to abstract something in your programming that we will later on see. Then the another concept is encapsulation. And what the encapsulation is? Encapsulation means wrapping of data and function together into a single unit, so that the unit outside that particular unit may not access the wrapped things. So, the things may be secure, your data will be secure once you encapsulate it by some mean. So, the next concept is polymorphism. Polymorphism means as the name suggests, poly means many, morphism means form. When one entity shows many behavior, different behavior at different places, then the behavior of that entity is called polymorphic behavior, and this concept is polymorphism. We can understand it by a example, like when plus operator is applied between two numbers, it add them, and when it is applied between two characters, two strings, it concatenates that. Means the plus is showing the different behavior at different places. So we can say that this plus is a polymorphic. So we can say that this plus is showing a polymorphic behavior. So this concept is called polymorphism. And the next one is inheritance. Inheritance means when one class acquire the attributes and behavior of another class, then this concept is called inheritance. There are different types of inheritance that we will later on see. So now we understand that what is abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism and inheritance. And Java is a object oriented language and it provides these all concept. It contains all this concept of object oriented programming language. In today's class, I have planned to tell you what the constructor is. Let's start what the constructor is. A constructor is a special type of function. It's a special type of function. Why I am saying it as a special type, we will later on see. It's a special type of function that have no return type. Its name is same as the class name. I am saying it special type because if a function, we say function in programming, that function contains four things: its return type, its name, its parameter list and its definition. But constructor is a special type of function. It has no return type, not even void. So another specialty is its name must be same as the class name. So constructor is a special type of, let's understand it by some program. Let I have created a class ABC and this class have certain variables, like it has variable x, y, and since Java is each and every variable must have some initial value. For this initialization in C language, there is a concept of storage classes that determines what will be the initial value of variables. But in Java language, if we want to initialize these variables, we have to create the object of this class. Then by using the object name with dot operator, we have to access these variables and assign some initial value. Another way, we may create some function, we may pass some parameter and those function may initialize these variables. But all these things we will understand by the mean of programming. But let understand what the constructor is. Constructor is a special type of class, a special type of function that have same name. Means if we are creating a function, that name must be as equal exactly as the class name. So ABC नाम का हम एक फंक्शन बनाएंगे, बट ABC नाम का जो फंक्शन है, this constructor may not have any return type. That's why I have not written any return type over here. So I have to pass any of the variable. Let's say I am passing a variable P and Q of int type, and this constructor is performing, it is initializing P, it is initializing, it is initializing, I have to rub this. This is initializing, the P has been initialized to X and Q has been initialized to Y. Let I have initialized this P to X and Q has been initialized to Y. We can see that this constructor name is same as the class name. It has no return type, not even void, and it is initializing the class variables. And let's move ahead. Whenever, I have completed this class, whenever we want to create we are going to understand what is the role of constructor. Whenever we want to use these variables x and y, we have to create an instance of this class that we also say as object, as you all know, I hope. So we have to create the instance of this class, we have to create an object of this class, and by those object, so let's have another class. Let I have creating a class apply that contains public static void and main function. As you all may aware that in main function we pass string args, and in this main function I have created a object abc space object name, let's say o1 equals to new abc, and since this constructor has been created and it has two integer type parameters, so we have to pass two integer type parameters over here. So whenever this object is created at runtime, this 10 and 20 will be passed to this p and q, and this means now the p have 10, q have 20, means this 10 has been assigned to x and 20 has been assigned to y, means at the time of creation of the object, this constructor is initializing the class instance variables. Whenever we create an object, this object have the instances of the copy of the x and y. Whenever o1 has been created, this o1 have the copy of x and y, and this o1 object has been created by passing 10 and 20, means 10 and 20 will be go to the p and q, and that will be assigned to x and y, means at the time of creation of the object, these variables, these values has been assigned to the instances of the o1 variable. So 10 will be assigned to x and 20 will be assigned to y, means now what the constructor is? Constructor is a special type of function that have same name as the class name, and that initializes the variables associated with the object at the time of creation of the object. I hope you understand. If we do not do like this, if we don't have the constructor, then we have to create a function in this class, we have to pass the parameters to those functions, and those functions whenever required with each object we have to call that function and pass some parameter, and every time that function calling will be involved, and then that variables may be initialized like that will more time consuming. So this way is more efficient than by initializing the class variables by the mean of some functions. This way we can create a constructor, means the main concept that you have to remember that the function, the constructor have same name as the class name, no return type, not even void, and its functionality is to initialize the class variables at the time of creation of object. Let's understand what will happen if we don't have the constructor. Let's move to the next, and let's understand if we don't have any constructor, then how the same task may be performed. Let there is a class A, and this class have variable x comma y, and since we all know that each and every variable must have some initial value, and for that we have defined a function, let's say we have defined a function void set parameter let I have defined, and I have passed int x comma int y. So and I have let the name is different, this name is m, I am defining with different name. If we want to use same name, then this keyword plays role, that we will later on see. I have defined two variables m and n, and this function is assigning m to x and n to y, assigning n to y. This function is doing like this. And whenever we want to use this class, we have to create an object of this. Let there is a class apply, and here there is public static void main function string args, and in this function I have created an object of this class a01 equals to new a. Now another object I have created a02 equals to new a. Whenever we create object, this object O1 have the copy of all the variables and all the functions of the class, means O1 have x, y and set p, this set p function. Similarly, this O2 have x, y and set p function. So x and y have not been initialized. If we want to initialize that, we can call O1 dot set p, and I have passed 10 comma 20. So this set p function will be called, the set p copy of the O1 function will be called, and it will initialize the variable x and y as the value we have passed. And here there is a jump of control are involved whenever we call a function. As we all know, the jump of control are involved, and so there is a problem of efficiency of your program. Whenever we want to initialize the variables x, y of O2, we will call O2 dot set p and pass, let's say 30, 20. Then the O2 variable x, y associated with O2 will be initialized 30, 20. This way you can initialize the class members at the time of calling of the function. And everyone, if we want to initialize with another value, next time we have to again call this set p with the associated object, and we have to pass some different parameter. This same thing may be done by the mean of constructor, and that enhance the efficiency of your program also. We can create a constructor in this class that will assign some initial value at the time of creation of object of the class. Then we need not to call any function, the constructor will automatically do that thing that we have already done previously. Here we have created a class ABC that have xy variable. We created a constructor named with the same name at the class name, pass some parameter and initialize those parameters to the class variables. And whenever the object is created, the value passed at the time of creation of object is directly passed to the constructor, initialized to the variables, and we need not to call any type of function over here. That improves the efficiency of your code. So if we want to create some another object ABC O2 equals to new ABC with some another value, let's say 30, 40, then the variables x, y copy associated with O2 object, O2 object will be assigned 30 and 40. X will be assigned 30 and Y will be assigned 40. This way we can create a constructor, we can understand the importance of constructor in Java programming. I hope it's clear now. So now what are the different types of constructor? Types of constructor. One more thing, before moving to the types of constructor, one more thing we must cover, we must understand over here that what is the this keyword, what is the use of this keyword. Then we will go to the types of constructor, what the this keyword is. This keyword, one line we must remember whenever we use this keyword, that this refer to the current object. This refer to the current object. What is the meaning of this? We will come back to that elaboration in some time. So let firstly understand what is the why we require this. Let I have created a class. Let understand it by some programming. Let I have created a class A, and this class have a variable x, y. There are two variables x and y. X and y. And there is a constructor ABC. Here I want to pass the parameter name as the same name as the class variable's name. Means in constructor also the variable name is x and y, and in class also the variable name is xy. So if we assign this x to this x, means assign x of the constructor to the x of class, then how the constructor, how the compiler, how the Java compiler understand how it resolve the name. So there is a problem of name resolution over here. So this problem is resolved by this keyword. So we have to write that, we have to write like this. To resolve this problem, we have to write like this. We have to write this dot x, this dot x equals to x, means assign this x variable, assign this x variable to the object is x associated with the current object. Since each object have the copy of the class variable, so this dot x means the copy of the x associated with that object which is being created. Currently which object is created, that object, जो ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट कर रहे हैं आप, उस ऑब्जेक्ट के x में ये वाला x असाइन कर दो। भाई इस कंस्ट्रक्टर से हम ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट करेंगे, और ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट करने के टाइम पे ऑब्जेक्ट जैसे क्रिएट होगा उस ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ इस एक्स वाई की एक कॉपी होगी, तो उस कॉपी को एक्सेस करने के लिए, ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ वाली कॉपी एक्सेस करने के लिए मैंने लिखा दिस डॉट एक्स, कि ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ जो एक्स एसोसिएटेड है करंट ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ, उसके एक्स में ये वाली एक्स की वैल्यू असाइन कर दो। सिमिलरली दिस डॉट वाई इक्वल्स टू वाई। सो whenever we will create the object of this class, let I have created a class apply that contains public static void main function string args. In this function I have created a object. Let's say object name, I am creating a object. I am creating a object. A object name is, let's say we are creating an object A01 equals to new A and passed, let's say 10 comma 20. So similarly I have created another object O2 equals to new A 30 comma 40. Means I am passing this 10 will be come to this x and 20 will come to this y. Similarly, whenever this object will be created, 30 will come to this x and 40 will come to this y. And since each object O1 and O2 have the copy of x and y, so whenever this constructor A has been called, this will called, and this shows that this dot x means currently O1 ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ जो x एसोसिएटेड है, O1 ऑब्जेक्ट के साथ ये वाला x एसोसिएटेड है, इसमें असाइन कर दो ये वाली वैल्यू जो कि 10 आई है, तो यहाँ पे इस हियर 10 विल बी असाइन. सिमिलरली दिस डॉट y मीन्स करंटली जो ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट किया जा रहा है, अभी इस ऑब्जेक्ट की बात हो रही है, दिस ऑब्जेक्ट हैव the y of this object y, O1, the y of this means current object O1, y of this current object O1 should be assigned the y this value. So this way this 20 will be assigned to this. Similarly, when O2 has been called, when O2 is called, we call that this dot x means the x associated with O2 will be assigned this, the x associated with O2 is this one, so it will be assigned the value passed over there. Here x means 20 will be 30, this 30 will be assigned to this, similarly 40 will be assigned to this. This way we can use this keyword to refer the current object whenever we want to refer the currently. Similar in the similar fashion, when we will perform some event handling, we register the source. Let's say we want to perform some operation after clicking the mouse, then this on every click, to understand the every click means every click will create an instance, an object, and those object may be identified, those every click may be identified by this keyword. Similarly, whenever we required to refer the current instance, current object, in that time we will use this keyword. Now let's move to the topic, what are the types of constructor. Types of constructor. Constructor are of type of constructor. Constructor are of three types. First one is default constructor. Second one is parameterized constructor. And third one is copy constructor. What the default constructor is, whenever we have created a constructor in which we have not passed any parameter. Let we have a class A, let's say ABC, and it has a variable x comma y, and we have created a constructor ABC and we have not passed any parameter in this constructor, and this constructor is initializing, let's say 10 y equals to 20, means we have not passed any parameter, but by default it is initializing 10 and 20 to the x and y. If we have not initialized something, then this x and y will be initialized with its default value, that is 0 for int type. So this default constructor, if not created in your program, then also is available to create object by default. Whenever we want to create, let this constructor, in previous program we have seen that, I have not created this constructor, but also if we want to create the object of this class ABC, then we can create that. And I am erasing this constructor. There is no constructor in this class. There is no constructor in this class, but I want to, there is no constructor in this class, but I want to access this x and y. So let's say I have a class apply that contains public static void main string args, and here I want to access this x and y. I can access by creating the object. Here I may create an object of ABC class, ABC O1 equals to new ABC. I may create it, and here you can see that what is this? What is this? This is the constructor, and this constructor has not been passed any parameter, and this type of constructor, that in where we have not passed any parameter, that is by default available to every class, that type of constructor is called default constructor. But one point we have to remember, that if a default constructor has not, if not any constructor has been defined in your class, if there is no constructor defined in your class, then this default constructor is available for you. But once you define your constructor, then this default constructor will not be available for you. But if you want to use that also, then that constructor also have to be declared. Means what? But what does it mean? If, let understand it by programming. Now move. I have created, if no constructor is available, then default constructor is always available to create the object like this. But I have created a default constructor. I have created a default constructor like this. The constructor name is ABC. No parameter has been passed. X is assigned to 10, Y is assigned to 20. So whenever the object will be created, O1 object will be created, the copy of X associated with O1 have the value of X as 10 and the value of Y as 20, because this default constructor has been created. This is called the default constructor. Now what is the, I will come back to this topic. If default constructor, if another constructor has been defined, then the default constructor will not be available by default. I will come to this topic. So firstly, understand what the parameterized constructor is. What the parameterized constructor is? A constructor in which some parameters are passed. A constructor, I am creating a constructor like this, and I am passing some parameter to this. Let's say I am passing m and n of integer time, and assigning x to m, means m is assigned to x and n is assigned to y. So whenever if this constructor has been created and let there is a class apply where public static void main function is there, string args has been passed, and if we want to create the object like this, will this object may be created? No, because this class once declared a parameterized constructor, then the default constructor is not available by default. So since this constructor is available, so we have to create the object by this constructor only. Means we have to pass two integers type value, we have to pass two integer type value to use this constructor to create object. Since this constructor has been available now, so we can create the object by using this constructor only. But if we want to use the default constructor also, then in that situation you have to declare another constructor. I am writing here ABC constructor where the default value has been assigned. So since now in this class there are two variables x and y and two constructor, one is default constructor that is initializing the x and y with 10 value, and there is a parameterized constructor that will be passed to integer value that will be assigned to the variable x and y. Now since this class have the default constructor and parameterized constructor both, so we can use any of the constructor. We can create the object by using default constructor also, like this, new ABC, like this, new ABC. New ABC like this. Now you can create like this, but once if this constructor is not available, if this constructor is not available, then you cannot create the object O2, because once the constructor has been defined in a class, then default constructor is not available, and if you want to use that, you have to define that also in the class. I hope you all understand the concept of constructor. Now the third type of constructor is copy constructor. Copy constructor just copy the behavior of previous constructor. If previously any constructor has been defined, in that case only we can use the copy constructor. Means if an object has been created with some constructor, then the copy constructor copy the same task of previously defined constructor. What does it mean? Let's understand it by some example. This is the copy constructor. Copy constructor. Copy constructor. Let we have a class ABC. Here in this class there is variable x, y, and here there is a parameterized constructor that have m and n of integer type, and here m is assigned to x and n is assigned to y. So there is another constructor I am going to define here. The constructor class name is same as the class name, and here I want to pass a object, so I have declared I am telling this constructor that I will pass a class type variable, that is object. We have to pass object of this class, because this variable C is of class type, and class type variables are also called objects. Means copy constructor may be only used once you have created object, the copy constructor copy the object behavior. Behavior means attributes. It's copy the attributes of values of attributes of the any previously created object. So we have to pass the object type means class type variable over here. Now what will it do? It will assign the value c dot x will be assigned, this x will be assigned as c dot x. This x variable of this class will be assigned c dot x, and this y value will be assigned dot c dot y. Since c is a constructor, c is a object, so object variables associated with the object may be accessed by the dot operator. So we have to write like this. So we have to write like this. Okay, this way. Now this class has been completed. Now if we want to use this object, we have if we want to use this constructor, we have to create the object of this class. That there is another class apply, and here there are public static void main function. This is I am writing string args, that I hope you all know. So if I want to create the object by parameterized constructor abc, then let I have writing object o1 equals to new, and new abc, and I am passing 10 comma 20. Let's we write it properly. Now I have created object o1 by using this first constructor. So if we want to use this constructor, I am creating object obc o2 equals to new, and I want to use this constructor, then I have to pass this previously created object over here, because here it has been mentioned thus the parameter of this constructor is of abc type, means abc type, and this o1 is of abc type. So now this o1 has been passed to this constructor, means o1 has been passed to c dot x, means o1 dot x, o1 the x value associated with o1 will be assigned to this x associated with o2, means we can see that the same value of x that has been assigned to o1 will be assigned to o2 also, because o1 has been passed to this argument as argument, means abc c contains o1, means o1 dot x, o1 the x value associated with o1 will be assigned to the x that is been created for o2, means o1 and o2 x value will be same. Similarly for y value. So we can see that the variables associated, if we want to copy the variables associated with the objects, then we can use this copy constructor. I hope you all understand what the constructor is. Now let's move to the another concept, what the static keyword is. I hope you all understand it. I hope you all understand it, and we will continue this concept in the coming lecture. In next lecture I will explain the rest concept. Okay, thank you, thanks a lot.